Men never ask women for help, so if a man is asking you for help, he has ulterior motives. At my old apartment, a really creepy man moved into my building, and when he caught me outside one day with my dog, because usually when I would see him, I would go right back into my house because he was that creepy. He called me outside one day with my dog and was like, hey, can you come in my apartment real quick? I think something's wrong with my washing machine. Mind you, this is an apartment. There's emergency maintenance. There's maintenance. We live right next to the leasing office. Come in your apartment? No. No, really, I just want you to look at something. I just want you to look at something. And this is what men count on. They count on you being just totally unaware, or they count on you not saying anything. So my neighbor ended up coming outside, and I literally yelled from my building to her building, why is this man asking me to come look at his washing machine? So now he's looking at me like, so my neighbor walks over and she's like, what? Why are you asking her to look like what? And so he's like, no, I just really needed, like, he's sticking to the story, y'all. I just really needed help. I really just wanted her to come put eyes on something. As she told him, we have maintenance. There's 24-hour emergency maintenance, and we have regular maintenance. This is during the daytime. Walk over to the leasing building. He is sticking to this story, y'all. And if a man asks you for help, he is setting you up. He is setting you up. I responded in the comments, but let me go ahead and give y'all a video. So after that happened, he pretty much did that weird shit all the time. So every time I left out of my house, he would leave out of his house. So if I was taking my trash out, he would come take his trash out. If I was walking my dogs, he would go to his car. Just find little ways so he could leave out of his house the same time I was leaving out of my house. And so after that, we had one more interaction where I was walking my cousin into my house, and he was outside, and he came home belligerently drunk again. And he was just like, oh, can I talk to you for a minute? And my cousin stayed out there with me, and he was just like, can I take you out? I really want to take you out, you know. I see you. I'm going to get your nails done. I'm going to get your hair done. And I think I had some straight backs in my hair. So he's looking at me. He was like, I want to get your hair done. You deserve to have your hair done. I want to look like Meek Mill. Like, what? And so he's like, your hair is so pretty, like, and all this stuff. You're so beautiful and all this other things. And I was just like, no, thank you. And I was like, I don't date. And so he was like, what's wrong with y'all women? And y'all always think somebody's trying to date y'all. Da-da-da-da-da. Mind you, he was asking me out on a date. And so I was like, I don't want to go out to eat. I don't need you to get my hair done. Like, I don't need any of that. He's like, I'm just trying to enjoy your company. I want you to enjoy my company too. I think we could have some things. We could get along with each other. Woo, 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 woo. Mind you, I didn't know this man from anywhere, anybody. He just moved into my building. He asked me like a maintenance question. Excuse my dog. He asked me a maintenance question, and that was about it. So all of this weird, like, it was just weird and creepy. And so I was just like, no, I don't want any of those things with you. Like, you're weird. And so he's like, basically making his case onto why I should date him and why I should go on a date with him. And I just was basically like, something told me to tell him to read a Bible. I said, you need to go read your Bible. You need to go talk to God. You need something. Like, he needed, I'm not even a super religious person, but that man, he had a spirit in him, and that's exactly what I heard in my head. But tell him he need to read his Bible. Tell him he needs to talk to God. And so he tried to have little interactions with me, but once I started moving things out of my apartment and started throwing things away, then he realized like I wasn't going to live there anymore. So he did kind of calm down after that. But he still would, every time I walked outside, he would go sit on his balcony because his balcony was front facing. So every time I walked outside, he saw me. So every time I would walk my dogs, I'd be walking up the sidewalk. He would literally come outside and sit on his balcony and like drink, or come out and sit on his balcony and like smoke a cigar or whatever the case may be. But I just had to be very aware of myself when I was there with him until I moved.
Girl, no, because that's weird. That was super weird. How a man gonna ask you to come look at something mechanical? You know what I'm saying? Like, not even saying that there's like gender roles, but that, you know, I'm low-key old school. Like, I'll fix a wash machine. I know how to fix a wash machine. Fixed a few in my day. So, yeah, what? You a grown man? You a whole man and you don't know how to fix a wash machine? We had a wash machine I had bought. Well, someone had gave me a wash machine. And I had literally changed, because it was one of those, it was a 4-prong. I think it was. Either it was a 4-prong or a 3-prong. 4-prong or a 3-prong. But it was a 4-prong. Let's say it's a 4-prong. And we had a 3-prong outlet. I literally went to the Home Depot and got me a 3-prong, changed out that 4-prong with 3-prong, did the wire and everything. It just was like, here's a wash machine. I mean, it's not that hard, you know. It's not that hard. But yeah, what? So you're telling me you don't know how to fix? That's beyond the fact, because you got maintenance. It's in the daytime. Y'all live beside the office. We already know he was up to some despicable stuff. That's crazy, because I hear that all the time when it comes to guys, especially when I used to work my old job. They would always having to deliver to black men and black older men, and just older men in general, just men in general, just always trying to hit on me. Always like, oh, I can do this for you, I can do that. And it's just like, bitch, I don't need you. You can't do nothing for me, like, at all, bruh. I got my own money, got my own car, got my own place. You can't do nothing for me, bro. Nothing at all. So what are we doing? And the moment you be like, no, I don't need any of that, they get all disrespectful and rude and aggressive. And it's just like, to me, I just be like, yo, so let's not be rude. Let's not be disrespectful. And I'd be like, no, because now you're being disrespectful and now I have to leave. Like, I literally call guys out because, look, no, you need to hear yourself. Would you say this to your daughter? Would you say this to your mama? Would you want anyone to say this to the women of your family? Would you not mollywop them aside their head if they say this to your family members? Like, no, you need to be aware of what you're saying. I'm a woman. I'm a lady. Don't talk to me like that. Call me respect. Put some respect on my name, on that E. It's a little respect mark. That hyphen, that's respect, boo. So now, friend, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you got loud, because I've had situations where I went to the front office. I'm not playing these games. Like, I'm not playing these games. Don't be watching me. Don't be. I don't know. It might be just me. No, I always feel like somebody's watching me. I don't know what that is. I maybe because I've been taught to be aware of my surroundings. So when I see somebody out, and I just be like, they might be watching me. So I need to watch myself. You know what I'm saying? But no, friend. Be safe. I'm glad you got out of that situation. I'm glad you were allowed and never talked to him by yourself. I'm glad you didn't go into his apartment, because why? I would have been like, bitch, what? Are you hearing what you're saying to me right now? I'm glad you was like, you need to go read your Bible. Because you're messing with the wrong one, honey. The wrong, well, shoot, with her situations. The right one, man. But yeah, I'm glad you got out of that situation, because that's crazy.
Story time about how I lived in a haunted house whenever I was young, and it still affects me to this day. So we did not grow up with money. We struggled a lot, but we moved into this trailer in Columbus, Ohio. I was maybe 5 years old. I think my brother was maybe like 6 or 7. So yeah, that sounds about right. But first red flag was whenever we moved in, there was a mattress that was still in the master bedroom, I guess you could call it, that had stains on it that looked like blood stains. But anyways, we get moved in. My parents, up until that point, had like a relatively happy marriage. My mom and dad's bedroom was on one end of the trailer, and my brother and I shared a room at the very other end of the trailer. And my brother and I every night started seeing this black shadow figure go across our wall. And the black shadow figure had red eyes. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you it's true. And we had bunk beds. I remember this. We had bunk beds. That comes into play later. And the first couple times I remember like just rolling over and covering up, and my brother did the same thing. But after like the 4th or 5th time this happened, I would run to my parents' bedroom and I would tell my mom what was going on, and she would just make me lay down with her and go to sleep. My brother and I kept telling our parents like what we kept seeing and what was going on, and nothing was happening to them, so they kept trying to play it off as other things, or, you know, just trying to make us feel better. Like, oh, you were probably dreaming, or that's probably not what it was, but we know that's what it was. And then one night I wake up to my brother, and he's standing like outside of our closet in the bedroom, and he's talking. And I'm like, who are you talking to? And he said he was talking to the people in the closet, right? And this became like a normal occurrence for him. My brother was talking to people in the closet that were not there. And of course, I told my parents about that. My brother told my parents about that, and they just kind of wrote it off, right? Now, this black figure that kept going across our wall was becoming more and more frequent each night. And one night I ran into my parents' bedroom and I got into the bed with my mom and I told her what was happening, and she snuggled me up really tight. And then all of a sudden, beside my mom and dad's bed, there was like an old air conditioning unit. And this is gonna sound crazy, but there was this little fairy. It looked like a little fairy with a blue sparkly dress, wings, and red eyes. And this thing was saying my name. But it was saying my name in an enchanting way, like trying to get me to engage with it. And this is the first time my mom actually saw something and started to believe. After that night, my mom told my dad, and my dad still really didn't believe anything that was going on. But during all this, my mom and dad started fighting like horribly. Like they were not getting along at all. And then one day my dad was at work and me and my mom and my brother were at home and our phone rings, right? And my mom picked up the phone, answered the phone, said hello. And when she did, a voice on the other end said, "Get out." And when she went to throw the phone because it scared her, the phone was stuck to the palm of her hand. Not even kidding you. She could not throw the phone. When she finally got it off, she absolutely freaked out, panicked, grabbed us, and took us out of the trailer. Now, at this point, my mom was freaked out. She didn't want to go back, but we did. So some time goes on. My mom and dad are fighting more and more. My brother is still talking to people in the closet. The black shadow figure has not went away, and the little fairy has come back. Now, the next couple things I'm about to tell you are gonna sound crazy, but again, very true. So in our bathroom, we had our sink and then our tub right beside that. And I was a little girl. I was mischievous. So one day before I got into the tub, I stood up on the sink and I only had on like my little undergarments. And I was standing up on the sink, looking in the mirror, and I slipped and I fell. And when I slipped and fell, I hit like my inner thigh, right? So I got back up and I got back up on the sink and looked in the mirror, and there was blood pouring down my legs. Like a lot. And of course I freaked out. But then when I looked down at myself, there was absolutely no blood. It was only when I looked in the mirror. So of course that terrified me as a kid. And I will never forget that. But anyways, my mom comes in, she helps me get my bath, and then it's my brother's bath time. And as my brother's taking his bath, all of a sudden my mom hears like water splashing everywhere. So she runs in there and something is physically holding my brother underwater. My mom is grabbing his hand, trying to pull him up, and she cannot get him up. And she is absolutely panicking, of course. So after, I really don't know how long it was, she finally was able to pull him up. And again, she gathered us up and she got us out of that place. By this time, my dad was staying somewhere else. We had some family that lived close. He was staying there and he was kind of coming back and forth because their fighting had gotten so bad. This was the beginning of them getting divorced. A few days later, my mom had a rocking chair and I was sitting in the kitchen floor, and my mom did not have any health problems, mind you. She was in the rocking chair, I was sitting in the floor, and she was reading me a book. And all of a sudden, she falls out of the rocking chair, face first, hits her face on the ground, blood starts pouring out of her nose. And mind you, I am very young. And I know to call my aunt. I know her number. She lives right down the road. So I called her. She came, called the ambulance. And it turns out my mom had a seizure. And when she fell, she broke her nose. And my mom has not had health problems up until that point. Some time goes on. Nightly occurrences are still happening. And then Christmas rolls around. For some reason, my parents got me this stuffed clown. Okay? And he was different colors, and I named him Fluffy. Now, Fluffy was like my security blanket. I slept with Fluffy every night. Fluffy went everywhere with me. I loved Fluffy. I actually lost Fluffy one night, and my parents tried to get me a new Fluffy and give it to me in the dark, and I knew better. I knew that wasn't Fluffy. Didn't want it. Some more time passes. My parents have finally decided to get their divorce, and my brother and I go to live with my mom at first, right? And of course, Fluffy goes everywhere I go. When we left that place, whatever was there, whatever demonic presence was there, attached itself to Fluffy. And throughout my entire life, I kept Fluffy with me, and all kinds of crazy things kept happening to me, paranormal things, throughout my life. My husband can attest to this because whenever we got together, it seemed like Fluffy was like very attached to me in particular and like possessive over me. And whenever we got together, things were happening around the house, like, you know, his wallet would go missing or just little mischievous things to mess with him. But then it got to a point that it was physically harming him, and he got like lifted off the couch one night. If you guys want to hear a story time about that, I've got plenty more stories that have to do with Fluffy and more paranormal stuff, I promise you. But I no longer have Fluffy. Somebody else has him. But that place was so haunted. And years ago, I tried to go back to that place just because I was curious to see if it still felt the same. And as soon as we pulled up outside, I automatically felt that fear and that dread. Couldn't even get outside of the car. And the weirdest thing was, it was the middle of winter and the family living there was outside sitting on the porch, bundled up like they didn't want to go inside. I know this is super long, but I've got so much more to talk about this, so let me know because I want to tell you guys so much more. There's so much more to this. It is crazy.
I feel like her parents would have still been together, like never divorced, if they never moved into that house, in that place. I feel like, and I hate that it had, like, they had to go through a divorce, you know, went through a divorce and was fighting. I feel like it was just the energy of that house that ripped them up, and that sucks, because she could have had both her parents in the same household, you know. But that really sucks about that. Girl, no, all of that happened is crazy. The fact that your mom was like, let's leave twice and kept on going back is crazy to me. I don't understand that at all. But okay, I can understand that if that's the only place you have, like there's nowhere else you can go. Like you say, your aunt lived down the street. Your dad found another place to go. And I understand your dad is one single person. Your mom is your mom, you and your brother. However, no, we getting up out that house if we're not going to do anything to make the house better. Like, we're not going to anoint it, pray over it. We ain't going to bring in no priests, no mothers of the church. Like, we're not doing anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, no, friend. All that was going on was real creepy. The fact that your brother just sat and stood and talked to those people in the closet. How your brother doing? Let's talk about your brother. How, I need an update about your brother, boo. How your brother? Is he okay? Like, for real, because what? Are y'all okay? All of y'all okay? Because that was a lot. It was a lot to experience, especially at your young age. Your mom all of suddenly having seizures. I don't know how that works. Like, I didn't study seizures when I was going in college. That's very interesting. We studied everything but that. Now that I think about it, wow, huh. But yeah, I don't really know how that works. So it's just like, it's like, do you just gain that? Like, I was watching this one, I don't know. I don't know how that works. Cause I watched this one program. It was like they were all on a boat. It was like a lot of people on a boat and had to stay on the boat for a while or whatever. I can't think of the documentary right now. It was like a reality show. And this guy on like the first episode had a seizure, and they were just like, has this ever happened before? And he was like, no, this is the first time. So I guess it works like that. Stress, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was the case for her mom. But that's really wild. They went through all that, saw that, your mom seen the little fairy or whatever, and then it was just like, oh, okay, so this is real. I don't know, friend. I would not have been there. Like, just being honest, like, oh, we gotta go. The fact that the first part was like, yeah, I left the room and went to lay with my parents. You just left your brother up in the room, honey. You left him victim, because you know they be looking for the oldest son, you know. The stories we seen, they be after the oldest son, the firstborn son. No, friend, I'm glad y'all got. Well, I don't know, because, well, she said they moved, but she didn't brought the little thing with her. Because it's like, when did you realize that it was attached to your clown animal? You know, I wouldn't have liked that clown stuffed animal, because it's just like, you see that in the movies. It's like, girl, no, it attached to it. It's trying to hurt your husband. That's like that other story we was reading where her little friends, her ghostly friends, was, you know, pulling pranks on her husband, well, ex-husband, her mom. Nah, friend, we ain't playing these games. You're not welcome at all. Like this video, follow all the creators, and subscribe.